Hear me out. I have to say, I get what this album is aiming for, it's just not my thing, and we're going to spend this review explaining why. Australian Vaporwave artist KAHN has released Live from the Grave, a selection of cold, moody and intriguing instrumentals. Also, very minimalistic. Most tracks here have a single idea and just kind of center around it, with occasional subtle tweaks as the track runs on. Overall though, this album doesn't quite click for me. It has the atmosphere, which is surely chilling and fits the title, you know. There are some very deathly, sorrowful vibes going on here, you know, like Lucifer's Watch or Fountain River, which have very harrowing atmospheres to them, the latter of which has the more disturbing one thanks to the sour-toned pianos. Genuinely sounded very unsettling. You know, judging by how grim that track sounds, I definitely would not want to know what was found in that river. Sadly though, the rest of the album feels like a mixed bag for me, where I have to just hope that a few of these instrumental tracks will at some point appeal to me. I don't want to sound too critical about it, considering that someone who enjoys more simpler tracks with a simple idea might enjoy what's going on here a lot more than I did. But for me, I find that a lot of what's offered on this album is kind of severely underdeveloped. Like, the tracks here have the atmosphere, have the starting ideas to sound interesting, but then kind of resort to repetitions of said ideas or certain melodies or musical passages or samples. They just keep repeating that in order to pad out the track for its runtime. Take the track Suicidal Fantasy 7, for example. Repetition usually works best when that repeated bit is attention-grabbing to begin with. Everything But Fear was another track that had a very peaceful air to it, but overall as a track just seemed very uneventful. And that's the thing that keeps me from enjoying Live from the Grave to a great extent. I mean, I personally prefer, with exceptions obviously, like Lucifer's Watch and Uncle Ricky and Fountain River. You know, I feel like I prefer when this kind of music has a bit more to bite into than it does here. I'm considering maybe a 5 out of 10 for Live on the Grave. A 6 might be liable if I was just looking for something to calm down and chill out to, but in any other case, I'm feeling kind of neutral on this one. You know, his last EP or album, sort of, Big City Nights, was fantastic because that was a lot more exciting. It did have a lot more to bite into. Same with Fake City as well. It did have its flaws, but that one still had a lot to bite into, because that one was more of a conceptual, cohesive album. This one kind of feels a little bit unfocused and a little bit underdeveloped. I reckon a 5 will probably suffice for me, personally.